Today, Trucks and Tractor Power comes to you from the Allen County Fairgrounds in Lima, Ohio, with the Spring 4-Wheel Jamboree Nationals. Nothing can brighten a gray Ohio day more than all the chrome and candy apple colors of a 4-wheel Jamboree. And all that polished aftermarket hardware, as well as all the other customizing accessories, are here by the truckloads. Manufactured midway at the Jamborees gives these people an opportunity to come and see the latest in tire development, wheel design, color schemes, and what have you. As a matter of fact, that's where we are right now. Speaking of color schemes, check this out. One of the finest pinstripers in the country, Mike Shirey, is showing the people the latest in graphic art design. Notice a little detail here. But that's what's going on in the manufacturer's midway. We got a competition area, and Dave Reef is standing over there right now. So let's go over to Dave and see what's going to be happening in today's competition.
Army, today we feature mud racing in the cut tire competition. Now, let's refresh your memory real quick here on what makes a cut tire cut. This is a Super Swamper off-road tire that is perfectly DOT street legal. They're $500 a set. From there, they head out to Jimmy Dean in New York, who does another $600 worth of work. These tires are $1,100 a set. These particular ones belong to Fred Wilhite's Money Pit entry. He says that coming into this season, he hasn't changed much, except for one thing. He does sign into the pits as the defending champion. After all, he did win the Cut Tire Jamboree Championship last year.
And making the tow all the way up from Daytona Beach, Florida, yeah, Ford fans, Gary Olstein's here with his Dirty Bird Ford.
Tom Martin, the Super Trooper, shows up with a new sponsor and a new vehicle. More about him a little later on in the show.
Speaking of new sponsor, Dan Brown shows up with a Whittier, California-based blower drive service. He'll be sharing a trailer this year with the defending national champion, Fred Wilhite.
But right now, let's head to the starting line where we find Jeremy Finley in the S-Kicker. He's going to be going up against Mark Dura in the split-second car, one of our rear-engine setup cars this weekend. Mark comes to us out of Moundsville, West Virginia.
Yeah, we're going to be keeping an eye on both these fellas. They draw earlier in the field. The vehicles, the way they're going to react is what everybody's going to be keeping an eye on. Rear motor, solid axle, more rigid. S-Kicker, far side, a real top-end charge.
Jeremy Finley in the S-Kicker. Hold on, look out, he's heading
Boy,
for
he
the water barriers.
had the back pedal on the throttle. Look at that, a 2.7 with a 4. Finley's looking good. Meanwhile, in the other lane, a 3.19. Not going to be the number that driver was looking for.
Well, on the replay, you can see the S-Kicker kicking him some horsepower right off the starting line, Army.
Yeah, he picks it up and literally skips across the track. But watch him in the shutdown area. Now, look at his hands. See, he's really starting to work that vehicle. He's trying to hit the throttle to pull it out. He is manhandling this thing like a school bus driver, if you will, but he got it all squared away.
Rodney Covington on the line now. This is his first trip back to Lima following a devastating wreck here 2 years ago. Before the race, he spoke with Army Armstrong.
Anybody that's ever seen a Diamond P specialty video, such as And They Walked Away or Shake, Battle, and Roll, have seen this man before. His name is Rodney Covington, and believe me, he has taken one of the most violent rides we've ever seen in the mud racing sports. As a matter of fact, you're really kind of lucky to be with us. That was one of the most violent end-over-end accidents we've ever seen. What goes through your mind now when you're back at Lima, Ohio, getting ready to make that same shot you made a few years ago that was so devastating to you?
Well, you have to put the crash behind you and come back again to another track and race. But, you know, I want to thank the chassis builder. You know, he did an excellent job. That's why I'm still here talking to you on camera. If it wasn't for him, you know, I wouldn't be here from the crash that we had. It's just like the saying says, when you fall off a horse, you have to get up and ride again.
Boy, today's horsepower. He's ready to go. You can tell he's got confidence. He knows he's not going to get hurt if that thing gets away from him.
Going to be taking on Joey Villarreal and Joey Quick, the far lane battle of the 32 Coupes as they come to the line.
Oh, both of the big guns not getting the run they want. Joey in the Chevrolet-powered vehicle goes to 352. Not a number to be proud of at all. And my main man who was on his head last year is in the mud this year. He didn't even make it out of the pit.
Rodney Covington and the Mud Rats, not the only ones getting stuck here in Lima this afternoon. Take a look at this. More Trucks and Tractor Power in a moment. Dave Reef along with Army Armstrong. Glad you're along with us on Trucks and Tractor Power. And for one couple, the 1996 Spring Jamboree Nationals in Lima was a very special event indeed. Jim Schultz and Jill Domhoff of Cortland, Ohio tied the knot. Presiding over this lovely affair, the Reverend Rhea Book. We certainly wish them a long and happy life together. Speaking of getting hitched, Joey Villarreal got hitched to a tow truck following his run. He's down with Army Armstrong.
Joey, not the way you want to go out of here on the hook. What happened to the car?
I think we lost the rear end. Pass felt really good, felt really strong. We've been doing a lot of different changes to the car. Went to a different transmission, had the blower freshened up. We were ready to go, just bad luck of the day.
New rear end in a couple of quarters and, of course, a big power wash. He'll be good to go. Well, next up, Tom Martin comes to us in the Super Trooper. Corporate sponsorship making its way to the mud pit. Earlier, I took a look at the brand new and improved Super Trooper. When it comes to mud racing, everyone knows the name of Tom Martin. He's a 4-time indoor, 2-time outdoor champion. He won the '93 Jamboree Series, but 2 lean years this season, Martin starts with a brand new race car from the rear end on up. Where does that come from? Corporate sponsorship in the form of Quaker State and Slick 50. Martin says they've stepped this car up in a very huge way, all the way up to this Keith Black power plant. The missing pieces to the puzzle are now in place. They're ready for a run at the championship, and it all starts today with this car's very first pass.
Well, it'll be a brand new pass, but he's been here before. He's going to be going up in the lane against Mike Camella. Mike will be driving a vehicle that goes by the name of Bonkers. Now, both of them are 32 Ford Vicky body styles. Now, these are just fiberglass look-alike bodies. Both of them run a supercharged Chevrolet engines, generating around 1,500 horsepower. You can tell when Martin's ready to race, he'll put those lights, there you go, flashing lights on top on an on position, indicating he is ready to go.
Don't forget, he won the 1994 Battle Tire class.
Yeah, but you don't look back, you look forward in this sport. Let's see what's going to happen. Whoa, Camella takes a ride. Check that out. A 2.67 with a 5, Dave.
That's very fast. Tom Martin's not slow either at a 2.690. Possibly one of the quickest side-by-side mud races you're ever going to see, Army.
Well, you know, we go back to the replay. They both leave together. Both of them Chevrolet horsepower. What can I say? It's just a good race, Dave.
Mike Camella maybe getting a little more of the bite out there in the outside area. Army's down with very quick runner in Mike Camella.
Well, here's your new leader right now. That was a good mud race. You and Martin put on a war out there.
Oh, yeah. We always do. The car left real good. It hooked, and it just kept pulling the whole length of the track. It really felt like a good pass. I'm real happy with it.
Dave, over to you and Tom Martin.
A side-by-side show put on by Tom Martin. A second place, but still a 2.69.
Hey, I'm ecstatic with that. First pass on this car and new sponsors. I got to thank everyone that helped get us here. It was great. We're a little conservative on the engine setup, but it felt great. I'm real happy.
Well, he's tickled to death. Speaking of new cars, Gary Olstein in the Dirty Bird. They're reverting back from the old form. He started with the Thunderbird and he went to the rail. Now he's coming back with a narrow Thunderbird version. And a little bit earlier, I had a chance to talk with Gary about it.
We made a mold up for just a narrow type body. We took 2 fenders and put them together and made a plug. 40 gallons of Bondo later, we come up with a good plug that we can make a mold off of. And it's just a lot of body work and whatnot. It's 40 hours of Bondo, and I'm going to say at least a good 4 weeks of hard work. And then we finally make a mold off of that plug, and then we produce the body out of the plug.
Osteen will be taking on Mike Behrman, who's busy getting some advice right now from his brother Steve. The Behrmans race with a big 509 blown Audi Rodeck on the modified 27 Ford Roadster. And they're both veterans. Mike's the 93 and 94 NMRO Cut Tire champion. Brother Steve, the 95 NMRO Open champion.
Yeah, one drives in one class, one drives in the other. Olstein, he likes to go in all the classes. That Ford Thunderbird, different body styles, both Fords. Well, Olstein left real early on that run. Behrman goes to 285 with a 7. And Olstein, believe it or not, red lights and it disqualified.
We're rolling up to the line now. Fred Wilhite in the money pit. He's the defending Jamboree champion in the cut tire category. He built his own racing chassis, but right now, Army standing by with our red light runner, Mr. Gary Osteen.
Gary, what was going on up on the starting line?
I was trying to cut me a good light. It evidently didn't work if that red light come on. I don't know.
It was dead red.
Was it? All right, well, I reckon I messed up and pulled me a good red light out of there, huh?
Tough break for Osteen as he throws away a 277, but meanwhile, now on the line, Brian Fry in the Midnight Special. He'll be in the near lane taking on Fred Wilhite.
Wilhite, the guy with a little dingleberry helmet, always puts on a show. Knows what it's going to take. Just pure raw horsepower and a good start. Got the start, has the horsepower, and trying to get her shut down. A 281. Number wasn't what he was looking for at all. He's about 2/10 off.
Brian Fry in the Midnight Special runs a 3.595. A little disappointing, I'm sure, for Mr. Fry, but hey, you get one shot at this. It's got to be now or never. When we come back, more mud racing, trucks and tractor power. Blue skies and sunshine. Welcome back to the Allen County Fairgrounds in Lima, Ohio. Pit side, let's send it down to Army.
We keep talking about these guys and the horsepower they make and the different fuel they use to make horsepower. This is an alcohol burning engine. I want you to look at it. They just finished a run. I can put my hand on the engine here. You can actually see the alcohol was burning so cool that it actually has a condensation there. Actually, this engine, the more fuel you run into it and the more horsepower you make, the cooler it's actually going to be. That's methanol alcohol fuel for you. Back to you, Dave.
Next up, Dan Brown, who comes to all these events in the same trailer as Fred Wilhite. He'll be driving the Mind Games 2, which is a Power Pro 23 altered blown 600 cubic inch Pontiac. Now, Brown won this event in 1994.
Yeah, but the guy that won it in 1995 is going to be in the other lane. Goes by the name of the Rabbit Transit. Al Stebbins out of Enterprise, Florida. Relies on Chevrolet for horsepower. Both vehicles, one a Pontiac, the other one a Chevrolet, generating around 1,500 horsepower. Both 23 altered type chassis. Stebbins goes through like a rocket and has a little trouble shutting it down with the 277. But the big story was Brown not getting out of the pit at all.
That's right, his time a 4.590, and he's still stuck in the mud. Well, check out the current standings. Find Mike Comella on top with a 267. Right behind him, Tom Martin in a 269. Those runs came out of the same race.
Jeremy Finley draws early, goes to a 277, but Al Stebbins, that's a 277 on this pass right here later in the field. Look how tough it is for him driving. We noted earlier how the other drivers were having problems. Stebbins is too.
Chuck Knoll, the defending Jamboree Class 6 champion, calls this a 1968 Ford Bronco, and he relies on the Ford Power out of Palm Harbor, Florida.
This is an open version of that type of vehicle, if you will allow me to say that. He'll be going up against T-Rat in the other lane out of the Bluegrass State of Kentucky. Jeff Ballard doing the driving out of Mount Sterling, Kentucky. The vehicle's owned by a school teacher down there. Jeff's doing the driving. As both of them work diligently, trying to get into the lights ever so gently so they can bump it when it goes green.
Well, both drivers come off equal. Both drivers come off equal, but they don't end up that way. Chuck Nolan, the stepchild, runs a 308 with a 5.
Yeah, Ballard goes a 3025, and what you saw there was Noel actually had to hit the throttle in order to settle the vehicle down. Watch him when he comes out of the pit. He'll be on the left of the screen. The wind comes out of the right side of the screen, but watch the problems the left side has. The right side takes a bounce and goes straight. The left side, watch him hit the gas right here. See, trying to settle the vehicle down.
Well, in all instances, spinning the wheels doesn't always get the car settled back, but for Chuck Knoll, that's exactly what happened. Army's down with him.
Well, we keep telling everybody about running them on kill. That's exactly what happened here. Chuck, you come out of the pit and it hooked to the right on you. But I noticed even with all your face shield and everything, you had a face load of mud. Could you see the finish line?
Not really, Army. The car was so loose, the line's loose up there, and the car was all in the ruts and that, and she over-revved on us. We had too much power.
Well, spinning the tires gets the car back into shape for Chuck Knoll, but hopefully not any internal damage done by over-revving. Well, now we go to Brian Belanda, the boss, on a single 27 Model T Ford with a 575 Ford power plant.
Runs a Hemi Ford power plant. You're seeing a lot of these motors starting to show up now in this Ford. Got to go quicker than 267. What's the number, Dave?
He's across the stripe, not quite there, at a 2.874. Still a good run for Brian Belanda. Let's go to some highlights. Rob Marshall in Beating the Odds. The big Keith Black Hemi has problems, as you can see here on the start, and only runs a 3.48. Not a good time for Rob Marshall. Over in the other lane, David Whitehurst, one of the young rising stars in the sport, lays down a good shot. Listen to this motor sing. Afterwards, he talked with Army.
287 for the kid with the long hair. Not a bad number out there at all.
It's a pretty bad track. We just did the best we could. Tried to line up in a good spot and just held into it.
Looked like a lot of lump in the middle.
Yeah, there is. It's rough, and car was all over the track.
And all that engine hum, just a little overdrive on the floor, but still a good time. Well, now we move to Tom Nyhus in the rear engine powered Rude Awakening. Hot off the line, Tom lays down a good shot.
298's a good number, but it looked like you still didn't get it to stick on the starting line for you.
Yeah, the start line was very hard, and it just blew the tires off the car.
David Bolser is a real live wire on this run. Check this out. He hits the timing cone on the big end and is disqualified. There you see the cone falling down. Nitrous injected and normally aspirated. Can't touch this if Steve Pryor powers his way to a 359. Still no one out in front of Mike Comella.
You know, in the 3 days of this event, over 35,000 people will enjoy all the action. Here's Mud in Your Eyes. We're going to break. We'll be back shortly.
We are back at the Allen County Fairgrounds for the Spring Four-Wheel Jamboree Nationals. The Four-Wheel Jamborees are part of the Special Events Performance Series featuring a weekend of four-wheel fun. There's the manufacturer's midway, or check out all the chrome and polish of the Show and Shine competition. Contact the Special Events Promotion Company to find out more about the Jamborees and other Special Events Performance Series events. And from the midway, let's take you back inside the competition area where your leader, Mike Comella, has just one more pair of drivers to sit through.
Yeah, and he's going to be sitting real nervous as Mike Lane in Wicked Sensation is going to be going to the line in a 23 Altered powered by 468 blown Chevrolet engine. The track has been going away. That may be to the advantage of our leader. Meanwhile, in the other lane, Dave.
Charlie Durbin, the axle breaker out of New Albany, Indiana. It's the last chance. See if anybody can catch the 267 of Mike Comella.
Durbin in the Jeep appearing vehicle. It's a fiberglass replica. A little out of shape. Oh, out of shape bad, Dave. Oh, it goes over. Durbin's on top.
Charlie Durbin puts it over on its lid. Both those drivers almost gaining contact. I don't know if they actually did touch, but you can see Charlie Durbin trying to get out of that car.
No, I don't think contact was made. We're going to find out real quick. Durbin moved first. It was a good run going for the Jeep vehicle. Took a little bit of a bounce in the middle. Meanwhile, the Altered comes on the big end. Now they both come out of the pit, and they're trying to slide to a stop. No, they did not make contact. But Tag, he goes over. It's a slow roll. He did some damage, I believe. On the throttle, too. You can see how the tire is slung out back there. When he went over, he hit the throttle.
Well, another angle of this. Both those guys got off the line really well, but watch Charlie Durbin fighting his way to the end, begins the slide, and then those big scoop tires take a big old bite. Durbin goes over the top. Army's down with Charlie Durbin.
Even when you have a wreck, you got paperwork. The EMTs have checked the driver over. First of all, do you have any idea what happened out there?
No, I have no idea. I thought I was doing good, and next thing you know, I was going over.
You were just doing good upside down. EMTs, real quick, y'all right on the spot, you looked at him?
When I got to the end, I was going to the right, and I think I ramped the bale of hay and it flipped me.
Okay, ramp the bale of hay is the word. How about the EMT? It's all about safety, isn't it?
That's right. That in their life.
We appreciate the EMTs and what they're doing along the safety crews, and the vehicles do have to pass safety inspections. It took a hard roll. He's going to be all right. So another time, another day, he may make the winner's circle.
Of course, let's not forget to mention, Army, in that last pass, Mike Lane did run a 2.85, a very fast time, but not quick enough to get him in to the top 5 as Mike Comella wins the event with a 267. Tom Martin's 269, really strong, but it's Mike Comella who wins.
You talk about the name Bonkers, it's appropriate. Both first and second times come out of the same heat race. That was a war out there between you and Tom Martin, Mike.
Oh yeah, Tom and I always run good together. Car left on me, tugged the motor down a little bit, but once the dart heads picked up, horsepower at the big end was phenomenal. I just made a lot of mile an hour, and that's where I think I won the race.
Quaker State's had a long-standing commitment to NASCAR. Steve Kinzer won the Knoxville Nationals with the sponsorship fast out of the box last year. Now Tom Martin, a solid showing today, second. Hey, Quaker State's quick out of the box.
Yeah, me and Mike, we battle it out all winter on the indoor circuit. We come out here, we run 1 and 2. It's a miracle, you know. We have a great team put together this year, and we're going for the title.
Well, the axle breaker lived up to its name today on the last pass. And of course, these two guys put on quite a show, 1 and 2 out of the same heat. So for Dave Reef and our entire crew, I'm Army Armstrong. Hey, we'll catch you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power.
Trucks and Tractor Power is a presentation of Diamond P Sports in association with TNN, the Nashville Network. So long now.